Okay, welcome to another video, and this is the second video that I've done regarding new releases from January of this year. I decided to start this series again, looking at new releases, but I decided to go right back to the beginning of the year, and I did one recently about the Gaz Coombs album, Turn the Car Around, and now the second that was released in that particular month, Late Developers by Belle and Sebastian. Now, first of all, quick confession time. Belle and Sebastian, although I have heard a lot of their albums, I've dipped in and out of them, I certainly recognise that they have a talent. They are very English in their presentation. They mix in guitars with synths alongside delectable vocals. But having said all that, they've never really stuck to me. It hasn't been an album that I've really wanted to regularly listen to get really deep into it. So this is the first album that I've actually reviewed, and it's their latest, Late Developers. It's their 11th studio LP, and it comes only 8 months after their last, which was released in 2022, of course, a bit of previous. Now, these two albums were recorded during the same self-produced sessions, so it's worth considering that when one listens to this particular album. Late Developers feels like a companion piece, it has to be said, to its predecessor, and I guess that's what the band were trying to achieve. It does cover aging and existentialism, and I got that off a review. But the soft, reassuring melodies grip these songs throughout, and they touch on the band's influences, particularly their soul influences, possibly with a slight nod to Motown, although the synths pop up in abundance. But it's fair to say that probably the band are still expanding, because it certainly sounded a little different from their earlier work, and they certainly have a creative range. That's all I've really got to say at this juncture, and let's move on. So I want to move on now to the track listing, and I did listen to this album all the way through, and so some observations really on it. And it opens up with Juliet Naked, which has a sort of dreamless folk rock feel to it. There's some sparing use of horns. There's horns throughout this album, actually, and it's got a sing-along feel. Second track up is Give a Little Time, and this certainly touches on Motown soul, and those lead guitar harmonies mix in very well. And the guitar, I heard a little bit of Thin Lizzy. Not heavy Thin Lizzy, more sort of subtle, sort of soft rock Lizzy. Track 3 is When We Were Very Young. The funk jangles with the guitars, and there's some dainty piano, and it's a bit of a snapshot to the past. I read the lyric on this. There will not be any lyric quotes on this review, however, because, as I said, I didn't really quite grab any particular track. Track 4, though, is Will I Tell You a Secret? It starts off, and I heard Cat Stevens impersonations. It's got a gentle pop feel to it. There's some cello in there somewhere, and the lyrics is basically puts us in the position within a relationship that asks the question, are we friends or are we lovers? And how the two can run side by side. And this actually highlighted a situation that I had when I was a teenager. I had a girlfriend, and I wanted her to become a lover, but it all became slightly difficult because one feared for the end of the friendship. I'm sure that rings bells with a lot of people. Track 5, So in the Moment, is power pop and it intertwines with a country feel. There's a bit of country steel guitar with fiddle as a combination. Continue on the tracks list then. 6th track on the side A, The Evening Star. Again, you can hear that soul prominent with the horns. They're not in your face, they're sort of laid back, but you can definitely recognise their impact to the song. This one's got a bit of a slow beat, and I actually was very impressed with this track. Turn it over, we're on to the B-side now, When You're Not With Me. Very much a feel of Let's Dance to Sarah Martin's skippy vocals. Yeah, Belle Sebastian, the lead vocals are shared by Murdoch and one Sarah Martin, and her skippy vocals brings this one along in the harmony, and the guitar melody sort of glides really. And I thought there was an influence from Spandau Ballet in the pace of the rhythm. I Don't Know What You See in Me is the next track, and there's an abundance of pop hooks here. And again, I like to refer to a previous artist from the past. There's certainly a little bit of ABBA or Bugs Fizz about the harmony vocals and the lead vocals. I love the bass lines here, but the vocals definitely catch the energy of the song. Do You Follow is next. Shared lead vocals on this one. It has a bit of a shuffle 90s sound. Polished pop and very easy on the ear. And then When the Cynics Stare Back from the Wall, it's a reminder of the band's style on those earlier records. I think they debuted with Tiger Milk. But again, I'm not that familiar with the album. But as I mentioned earlier, this was written by Murdoch in 1994. There's a guest vocal on here from Camera Obscura, Tracy Ann Campbell. I don't know much about this band, although Gatewell 32, he's well into Camera Obscura. It's pretty melodic pop, and there's horns on the outro. And then the closer, which is the title track, it has a Tropicana feel as it starts off. And then the flugelhorn inflates the punchy vibe. And there's sort of twin vocals that end with a sort of oh la la. I get a feeling with this album that I really need to invest time in it. So overall thoughts, well presented pop that perhaps plays conservatively and lacks a little bit of adventurism. And to follow on from that, this sugary pop tends to lack the emotional impact on me. I know the melodies are fine. The band works as one. I sense that this band requires a lot of listens. Otherwise, one will conclude, nice band, pleasant melodies, well-played songs, lyrics are live stories, but not spectacular on first read. And I suspect that their body of work will have little impact on me beyond the now unless I invest time with them. Now, just a little point about this video. I will have a slide with the track listing and the personnel, but the personnel mainly Stuart Murdoch, Steve Jackson, Sarah Martin, Chris Geddes, Richard Colburn, and Bobby Kilden and David McGowan. Those at the core of this band. However, when I went to Wikipedia to try and get some detail on what instruments are being played and by whom, on this album it gave absolutely no information other than the names of the musicians. So that didn't help. Right, but there will be slides. In addition, I have added to the description audio links for all the songs and another review of the album. I thought it'd be quite useful for those who are interested to get a comparison. So I've linked the review to this album, which is on a website called Taste Like Music, which I've grown to love. The guys on there are very thorough, very insightful, so give it a listen. So that's my lot. Late Developers, Belle Sebastian, released January 2023. Get to listen to it.